Hello, welcome to my lecture, Community Medicine Department. Today's topic is food poisoning. Content, introduction, definition, types, sources, causes, prevention and control of food poisoning. Food poisoning occurs in overcrowded places of hostels, canteens, restaurants, and even at houses with dirty, unhygienic, and overcrowded places. It is foodborne illness, foodborne disease, and food poisoning. Introduction. Food poisoning is a common yet distressing and sometimes life threatening problem for millions of people throughout the world. Depending on the type of infection, people can even die as a result of food poisoning. More than 250 different microorganisms can cause food poisoning. Some of the most common diseases or infections are caused by bacteria such as Campylobacter, Salmonella, Shigella, E. coli, Listeria, Clostridium botulism, and norovirus. Definition. Food poisoning is any illness resulting from the ingestion of food or drink contaminated with living bacteria or other toxins or inorganic chemical substances and poisons from plants and animals. Sources of food poisoning. High risk foods and low risk foods. High risk foods are cooked poultry, cooked meats, dairy produce, milk, cream, etc., soups, sauces, and stocks, shellfish, seafood, cooked rice, dishes containing eggs. Low risk foods, dried or pickled food, chemically preserved foods, foods with high sugar content, food with high salt content. Types of food poisoning. Bacterial food poisoning, non-bacterial food poisoning. Bacterial food poisoning is food infection, and second one is food intoxication. Food infection refers to the presence of bacteria or other microbes which infect the body after consumption. Food intoxication refers to ingestion of toxins contaminated with the food, including bacterially produced exotoxins. Common foodborne bacteria are Bacilli, Bordetella, Clostridium, Escherichia, Spirulina, Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, and Salmonella. Non-bacterial food poisoning by chemicals, for example, arsenic, copper sulfate, mercury, cadmium, pesticides, seafoods, certain plants, and fertilizers. Environmental sources of food poisoning. Water. Foodborne diseases are also carried by contaminated water. Soil. Dust and dirt is made up of from soil. It is easily blown onto food after being carried into the kitchen on clothes and shoes. Soil contains the food poisoning bacterium Clostridium perfringens as well as many others. Insects carry bacteria on their bodies. Crawling insects such as cockroaches, beetles, and flies. Kitchen surfaces and utensils. Causes of food poisoning. Improper handling, preparation, or food storage. During its production, growing or harvesting, and processing, storing, and shipping or preparing. Large variety of toxins that affect the environment. Chemicals. Pesticides or medicines in the food and naturally toxic substances like poisonous mushrooms. Good hygiene practices before, during, and after food preparation can reduce the chances of contracting an illness. Food poisoning. Food poisoning, also called foodborne illness, is illness caused by eating contaminated food. Infectious organisms including bacteria, viruses, and parasites or their toxins are the most common causes of food poisoning. Infectious organisms or their toxins can contaminate food at any point of processing or production. Contamination can also occur at home if food is incorrectly handled or cooked. Food poisoning symptoms, which can start within hours of eating contaminated food, often including nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. Most often, food poisoning is mild and resolved without treatment, but some people need to go to the hospital. People at high risk are elderly people, babies, and pregnant women, and with chronic diseases. Now, staphylococcal food poisoning, salmonella food poisoning, and botulinum food poisoning. Just see the pictures. Staphylococcal food poisoning from boils, cow milk, dairy products, men and animals. Okay. Salmonella food poisoning is poultry, farm animals, egg, egg products, meat, shami kebab, biryani, chicken tikka. Botulinum poisoning, preserved foods, homemade cheese, canned foods, tin, vacuum packed food, low acid foods. Bacteria need all four to multiply: food, moisture, warmth, and time. Food, moisture, and warmth, and time, these four factors are required for bacteria to multiply. So multiplication occurs, just see the picture. Food poisoning, and see this temperature, conditions, and bacterial action, safety. So minus 18 degrees Celsius temperature is fridge, and bacteria in that place will be dormant or not able to multiply and safe. 1 to 4 degrees Celsius fridges or cold stores, most bacteria unable to multiply and food is safe. 5 to 63 degrees Celsius room temperature, body temperature, and warm food, bacteria able to multiply and food is dangerous. 64 to 72 degrees Celsius, keeping food hot, most bacteria can't multiply and food is safe. 73 to 100 degrees Celsius temperature, cooking temperature, most bacteria die and food is safe. Above 100 degrees Celsius, boiling food, pressure cooker, most bacteria and bacterial spores killed and food is safe. The main food poisoning bacteria. Salmonella is from raw meat, eggs, poultry animals. Onset of time is 6 to 72 hours, and symptoms will be abdominal pains, diarrhea, fever, vomiting, and dehydration. Clostridium preferens comes from raw meat, oil, soil, excreta, insects, and onset of time 8 to 72 hours, abdominal pain and diarrhea. Staphylococcus aureus comes from skin, nose boils, cuts, and raw meals, and onset of symptoms is 1 to 6 hours, abdominal pain, vomiting lower than normal temperature. Now we will see the bacteria. Listeria produces symptoms diarrhea, fever, muscle ache, and Listeria is from unpasteurized milk, soft cheeses. Good practice is cooking raw food thoroughly. Now, Campylobacter comes and causes nausea, fever, cramps, diarrhea. Campylobacter comes from raw milk, raw meat. Cooking raw food thoroughly can prevent food poisoning. Clostridium preferens causes nausea, vomiting, pain, diarrhea, and it comes from stew, soups, gravies held at warm temperature. We can prevent it by hold food at below 4 degrees Celsius or above 140 degree Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. Salmonella causes diarrhea, chills, fever, and vomiting, cramps. Salmonella comes from undercooked poultry, eggs, or products containing eggs. Salmonella causes can prevent we can prevent salmonella by cooking raw food thoroughly. Escherichia coli causes cramps, diarrhea, fever, vomiting, and it source of food is contaminated ground beef, unpasteurized juice, and milk. We can prevent it by cooking raw food thoroughly, eat pasteurized food. Now we will see the most common food poisoning agents. Staphylococcal poisoning common form, salmonella poisoning common form, and botulism poisoning rare or but most serious form. Staphylococcus aureus agent is relatively heat stable, resistant, boiling 30 minutes. Staphylococcus, Salmonella, typhi and Salmonella paratyphi. These are typhimurium, endarteritis, and cholera suis. Botulism, Clostridium botulism B, A, B, and E type, and heating 100 degrees Celsius for few minutes. Staphylococci, source of staphylococcal poisoning is everywhere in the nature, man and animal, skin, hair, nose, throat, common agent of boil and poisonic infection, cow mastitis involving milk and milk products, bakery products, salads, macaroni. Source for salmonella is nature, poultry, farm animals, egg products, meat, sami, kebab, biryani, chicken tikka, urine, and fishes of rat. Source for botulism, food poisoning is preserved foods, homemade cheese, canned foods, tinned vegetable, fruits, and salted fishes, vacuum packed food, low acid foods. Incubation period for staphylococcal food poisoning is 1 to 6 hours. Incubation period for salmonella poisoning is 24 to 24 hours. 12 to 24 hours. Botulism poisoning is 12 to 36 hours. Now, pathology, pathology and mechanism of staphylococca. In Staphylococcus, toxin performed in food. Heat resistance ingested after taking food acts on intestine and CNS. In Salmonella, causative organism multiply in the intestine and act at enteritis and coli. In botulism poisoning, exotoxin absorbed from gut via blood peripheral nerve synapses blocks relapses of acetylcholine. Now, clinical findings. Staphylococcal food poisoning is acute onset of vomiting, abdominal cramps, and diarrhea, blood and mucus if severe, and fever rarely. Salmonella presents onset of generally sudden with chills, fever, nausea, vomiting, profuse watery diarrhea, last 2 to 3 days, and mortality about 1%. Botulism present with diplopia, ptosis, blurring of vision, muscle weakness, dysphagia, quadriplegia, paralysis of respiratory muscle. Staphylococcal food poisoning treatment is B. lactamase, penicillin, cephalosporin, vancomycin. Treatment for salmonella poisoning is ciprofloxacin, chlorpheniramine, trimoxazole, amoxicillin, trimethoprim. Treatment for botulism poisoning is antitoxin, guanidine hydrochloride, active immunization, and respiratory support. Prevention. Staphylococcal food poisoning, we can prevent it by cleaning, frequent hand washing, aseptic management of lesions. Salmonella post poisoning, we can prevent it adequate food inspects, septic animals, condemned septic food to be condemned, proper cooked, and proper boiling is important. For prevention of botulism poisoning, we do adequate food cooking, proper sterilization, and discard swollen cans. Now we will see details of Staphylococcal aureus. It is commonly found on the skin, hair, nose, and throat of people and animal. It can multiply quickly at room temperature and produce a toxin that causes food poisoning. Staphylococcal aureus source is salads, macaroni, bakery products, cream, peas, milk, and dairy products. Salmonella food poisoning. One of the most common causes of food poisoning. Symptoms last 4 to 7 days without treatment. Salmonella is killed by cooking and pasteurization, but it can contaminate the food processing areas and transmit it to another food items. Source is raw poultry eggs, undercooked poultry, and meats. This is salmonella food poisoning from epithelial cells lining intestinal tract. Salmonella enters to epithelial cells. Salmonella multiply within vesicles inside the cell. Salmonella multiply in the mucosal cells. The inflammatory response results in diarrhea. Occasionally, the bacteria cross the epithelial cell membrane and enter the bloodstream and lymphatic system in lymph nodes and then bloodstream, and it causes fever. Jersey salmonella infection comes from cow milk and pig flesh, chicken eggs. Clostridium preferens, one of the most common spore-forming bacteria causing food poisoning. When food prepared in large quantities and kept long time before serving, it causes infection. Incubation period is 6 to 24 hours. Outbreaks usually linked to institutions, hospitals, school cafeterias, and prisons. Sources such as beef and poultry. Bacillus cereus, it is a type of bacteria that produces toxins, diarrheal toxin, emetic toxin. Incubation period is 1 to 6 hours, and sources is soil and in raw, dried, and processed foods. Symptoms of food poisonings are just vomiting, abdominal cramp, abdominal pain, and loose motion. General symptoms are fever, chills, malaise, aches, swollen lymph nodes, salmonotherapy, upper GI signs, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and S. aureus and its toxins, B. cereus and its toxins. Lower GI signs, lower abdominal cramps and diarrhea. In Clostridium perfringens, Bacillus cereus, Salmonella shigella. Neurological signs present in as visual disturbance and vertigo, and paralysis in Clostridium botulinum. Symptoms are nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, gastroenteritis, fever, headache, fatigue. Gastroenteritis means loose motion. Treatment. The main treatment for food poisoning is putting fluids back into the body, rehydration through IV line and by drinking. Do not eat solid foods while nauseous or vomiting, but drink plenty of fluids. Anti-vomiting and diarrhea, medications, and antibiotics. The WHO's golden rules for food preparation are: choose foods processed for safety, cook food thoroughly, 3. Eat cooked foods immediately, 4. Store cooked foods carefully, 5. Reheat cooked foods thoroughly, 6. Avoid contact between raw foods and cooked foods, 7. Wash hands repeatedly, 8. Keep all chicken surfaces meticulously clean, 9. Protect foods from insects, rodents, and other animals, 10. Use safe water. Safe preservation of food: refrigeration, drying, canning, salting, pickling, smoking. Chemicals such as sugar, salt, citric acid, benzoic acid. These are preservation of food. Now, prevention and control of food poisoning. First is food sanitation. We food sanitation. So, food and meat inspection is important. Personal hygiene is important. Medical inspection of food handlers. Food handling techniques are golden rules, sanitary improvements, and health education as a part of food sanitation. Now, second is refrigeration. Surveillance and laboratory analysis. Strategies to prevent food poisoning: keep hands and nails clean. We need to wash hands and nails through with warm and running water and soap. Dry hands thoroughly. Cover cuts and infections on hands. Fight germs by washing your hands by 7 steps of universal precaution. Keeping the chicken kitchen clean. When cleaning plates and equipment, we need to scrape and rinse off surface foods. Wash in clean soapy water, rinse in clean water, air dry where possible. If drying immediately, use only clean dry towel. Pest control and animals. Stop pests such as cockroaches and mice coming into the area where food is kept. Discourage pests by not leaving food or dirty dishes out on the benches. Keep animals out of the kitchen. Handling food safely. Avoid preparing food when sick or feeling unwell. Keep raw meats, poultry, and seafood separated from cooked food and food to be eaten raw. Protect food in the refrigerator by placing in covered containers or covered with plastic wrap. Use clean equipment plates or containers to prevent contamination of cooked food. Use clean equipment rather than hands. Wear clean clothes or clean apron. Wash fruit and vegetables to be eaten raw under running water. Food poisoning precautions. Always wash your hands with an antibacterial soap before eating something because food poisoning is mostly caused by germs. Especially wash your hands after using the washroom. This will not only help you prevent liver disorders but you also remain safe from skin infections. Drink mineral water. If drinking mineral water isn't possible, boil the water before you drink it because one reason of food poisoning is polluted water. Avoid stale food. Always eat fresh and hygienic food because stale and unhygienic food can be a cause of liver disorder. Eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Always wash the fruit and vegetables before eating because the fruits brought from markets are kept open in polluted areas and they contain a lot of germs. Always use home frozen ice. Avoid using ice brought from the market as the ice is not frozen by filtered water. Spicy and unhygienic bites can ruin your stomach. Avoid them. Do not freeze meat for more than 2 days. The meat frozen for more than 2 days not only loses its protein but is also hazardous for health. Food poisoning and other stomach disorders are caused due to unhygienic food. Thank you. That's all. We will meet you in next lecture. I will assign some important task for you. So just see the consignment and please give your feedback. Okay. Thank you.